In a tiny town hidden away in the beautiful British countryside, there lived a little boy named Sami. He was gentle, curious, and had messy brown hair that often fell into his eyes. If you've heard of Sami before, you'll know that he lived with his grandmother. Grandma was a kind, loving woman, but she was always forgetting something important. What you may not know is that Sami's town was close to the sea. Just a short bike ride away was a secret little beach. The beach was tucked inside a quiet cove, surrounded by grassy fields. The sand was soft and golden, dotted with smooth gray rocks. In the summer, the sea sparkled a bright, shimmering blue, but in winter, the waves turned cloudy gray, restless and cold. This story takes place on one warm, golden summer's day. Sami and Grandma were sitting together on the sandy beach. Grandma had packed a wicker basket filled with food. She also brought along her soft picnic blanket. They spread the blanket over the warm sand, and it felt cozy beneath them. The sea was calm, smooth as glass. Above them, the sky stretched wide and blue. White, fluffy clouds drifted lazily in the breeze. Grandma lay on her back with her hat shading her eyes. She wore bright orange sunglasses that sparkled in the sunday. Sami had been swimming, so his hair was damp and sticking up in little spikes. He sat cross-legged on the blanket, toes wiggling in the warm sand. The grains of sand slipped between his toes, soft and tickly. He scrunched up his feet, then stretched them out again. He listened to the sound of the gentle waves lapping against the shore. The rhythm of the water was peaceful and calming. Sami reached into the basket and pulled out a cucumber sandwich. He bit into it, and the cool crunch filled his mouth. The soft bread, fresh cucumber, and cream cheese tasted perfect. He sighed happily, savoring each bite. What a perfect day, Sami whispered to himself. Grandma hummed softly, enjoying the Sunday. The air was warm, the waves were calm, and the world felt peaceful. Suddenly, Grandma sat up straight with a gasp. "Oh no, I forgot. The giants are coming for jelly," she exclaimed. Sami blinked in surprise. Giants? Coming here? But Sami knew Grandma often forgot things or remembered them suddenly. Without hesitation, he jumped up to help her. Together, they packed everything back into the basket. Sandwiches, cheese, apples, and fizzy water disappeared inside. Grandma folded the blanket quickly, her hands moving fast. Sami tugged on his shorts, then slipped into his summer shirt. He wriggled into his sandals, fastening the straps tightly. The two of them hurried up the beach towards their bicycles. Grandma's bicycle was lilac-colored with a big basket in front. It also had a special holder at the back for carrying things. Sami's bicycle was bright cherry red, small but sturdy. It had a shiny silver bell that rang cheerfully. Sami also had a little white basket fixed on the handlebars. They hopped onto their bikes and pedaled side by side. The road from the beach was sandy and narrow. wheels wobbled slightly in the soft ground, but soon the countryside opened wide around them. Fields of golden wheat glowed under the afternoon sunday. Green pastures stretched out, dotted with cows. The path widened and turned smoother beneath their wheels. Sami pedaled faster, his red bike gleaming. Beside him, Grandma's lilac bike rattled with the basket full of food. Ahead, Sami could see his town resting in a dip in the land. The church spire rose proudly above the rooftops, its flag fluttering. The countryside slipped by in golden waves. The sunlight painted every blade of grass a glowing green. Sami smiled as the bell on his bike jingled. Soon, Grandma slowed down and stopped. Sami braked quickly and pulled up beside her. They had paused at a large farm gate. Behind it was a lovely old farmhouse. A wooden sign hung nearby. Fresh strawberries for sale. Grandma hopped off her bike, calling towards the house. A tall woman in a blue dress stepped out to greet them. She had brown hair that fluttered in the breeze. Grandma explained that she needed all the strawberries they had. The woman looked surprised, but nodded kindly. "It's for a very special party," Grandma whispered. Soon, boxes of strawberries were stacked high. Grandma's front basket overflowed with the red fruit. Sami's little basket held 2 neat stacks as well. Carefully, they cycled back towards home. The sweet smell of strawberries drifted up to Sami's nose. He licked his lips, imagining the taste. By the time they reached the cottage, the sun was sinking low. Shadows stretched across the fields. Grandma didn't waste a moment. Together, they carried every box of strawberries into the kitchen. Once the last box was set down, Grandma hurried to the cupboard. She pulled out cleaning supplies, Christmas decorations, and even a barbecue. Finally, she found what she wanted: the paddling pool. Sami tilted his head. "The paddling pool? For jelly?" Grandma grinned. "It's the only thing big enough for giants." Sami's eyes went wide with wonder. They hurried into the garden. Carrying the pool, Sami helped unfold it on the grass. Next, Grandma filled every saucepan in the house with water. On the stove, the water bubbled and boiled. Sami watched the tiny bubbles rise and pop. Together, they poured the hot water into the pool. Then Sami poured in cold water to balance it. The pool shimmered with warmth. Grandma opened packets of jelly powder. Sami held the biggest ladle he had ever seen. Grandma tipped the jelly powder into the steaming pool. Sami stirred carefully with the big ladle. The water turned bright pink, swirling like magic. Clouds of fruity steam rose into the warm evening air. Sami laughed as the scent of strawberry filled the garden. The paddling pool gleamed, glowing with sweetness. Together, they tipped box after box of strawberries inside. The fruit floated, bobbing gently on the surface. Sami leaned over and watched them drift like little boats. "It's like a strawberry sea," he whispered. Grandma chuckled. "A sea for giants to feast upon." Sami's arms ached from stirring, but he kept going. The mixture grew thicker, wobbling slightly. "Nearly there," Grandma encouraged him. Stars began to twinkle faintly in the darkening sky. The cottage windows glowed warmly with lamplight. Sami's heart raced with excitement. Would the giants really come? Or was this one of Grandma's stories that lived only in dreams? He didn't care, this was already magical enough. Suddenly, the ground trembled. Sami froze, eyes wide. Another tremble. Like distant thunder, Grandma nodded knowingly. They're coming. Over the hill, enormous shadows appeared. Figures taller than the trees slowly approached. Sami's breath caught in his chest. 3 giants stepped into the garden. Their clothes were patched but tidy. They wore boots the size of wheelbarrows. The tallest giant bent down, peering at the pool. His eyes lit up. "Strawberry jelly," he boomed. The giants clapped their enormous hands with joy. Grandma curtsied politely, as if greeting old friends. Sami stood straighter, trying to be brave. One giant reached out a spoon the size of a shovel. He scooped a wobbling chunk of jelly and slurped it happily. The second giant plucked floating strawberries one by one. The third giant licked his lips, humming with delight. The garden echoed with the sound of giants feasting. Sami couldn't stop smiling. He had never seen anything so extraordinary. The giants ate politely, thanking Grandma as they feasted. "Best jelly in the world," one giant declared. Grandma beamed proudly, adjusting her orange sunglasses. The stars above sparkled brighter, like they approved. Sami yawned suddenly, his body heavy with sleep. The day's excitement finally caught up with him. Grandma led him inside, tucking him into his soft bed. Outside, the gentle sound of giants eating jelly lulled him into dreams.